Well, welcome to the MySaw Workshop today. Today I'm going to assemble the second of two shelf units for the sewing cutting table that I've been building for a few months for my wife. This is a 3/4 inch cabinetry project that used pocket holes for the joinery. You'll have a dado back on it. And I'm going to show you how I do all that today and some of the ideas and thoughts I have when working with pocket holes. So I've got everything assembled here. I've got my blue screws. I've got a driver for the square pocket hole screws. My favorite, the 12-volt Bosch drivers. My hammer for tapping, and 4-foot aluminum clamps back here. And this is the bottom piece. And I've just noticed that I've got a problem with this. If you can see that end there. I've got a dado on both sides of it because I cut the dado on the wrong side and then thought I'd cut the dado on the right side, and I think that's just a bad idea. So I'm just going to cut this little lip off here, and it'll be on the bottom, and the 1/2 inch back will overlap that completely, and I think that'll work better anyway. So I'm going to stop and run this through the table saw and get this flushed up on the back, and then we'll come back to actually building this thing. Thank you. So we got the bottom panel fixed, just ripped it through the table saw and cut off that little flange, and you'll see how that works out a little bit later on here as we assemble this. So let's get to it. I've got the top piece here. I've pre-finished everything. It makes it a lot easier in getting the corners. And I've got my, my other pieces set up here with, I've got one of these grip clamps on the bottom of this side just to hold it up straight enough so I can get it put together. And I've got these little clamps up here. I use these for everything. I think we all do. But this will be a way I can put the top on and hold it. So this top's going to go on here and just set down. And what I do this for is so I can get the aluminum clamps on there initially, and then I can tighten it up. These are really nice and easy to use. They're real light, and they're totally sufficient for clamping pocket hole projects. The one thing about, and I'll say this 2 or 3 times, the one thing about pocket holes is that they've got to be tight when you screw them together. So I'm just getting that up kind of about where it should be. And I'm going to slide these up into the right place and tighten them. So now that's about flush. Go around the other side and get the other one. I like to screw these all the way out, and then slide them that last click, so you can see we're starting to look pretty good pretty quick here. Now this is supposed to be all set here. There's going to be a piece of maple trim that runs down the front of this, and this is going to actually be hidden when I get the whole cutting table assembled. So that's not a mistake. I'm not panicked. I just made me think about it. So we've got this about in the right place, and get these moved up over here so that holds it. Then I can mess with it a little bit easier. This is my favorite device right here when I'm assembling pocket hole cabinets. This is my tap, tap, tap dead blow, little small dead blow hammer. It just works great. So now that I've got this set, I had to push these around. So one of the things I do, clamps have a way of putting a torsion on there if we move a board in between them. And so I just loosen that, and I'm going to tighten it back up again. And I'm going to loosen this one, tighten it back up again, just enough. So what I'm hunting for here is this rabbet on the back and the rabbet on the top here need to be flush with each other. So I can just hit that, and I'm a fingertip guy. I rub my finger on it, and I can feel a bump. It's just a slight bump there. So I've got those flush, which means they're in the perfect place. Now this up here is not flush. So here I've got a little tension on these clamps. So I'm just going to tap that up, and I'm going to run my finger across the top, and I can feel that flush. There we go. And then come down here. And I'm pretty much a perfectionist when it comes to this, but my cabinets turn out pretty good that way. So I'm about set on this side. It's just a hair high. Then I'm going to go around to the other side. And this is just almost right there. And so that came together really quick. Take a couple of turns on this clamp. Go check the other side. That's gotten a little low. Now, we're talking probably a 64th of an inch here. I mean, we're not talking anything. That's still flush. That's still flush. So I'm going to take a turn on that. Get my stool so I can get up here, put screws in. I use these blue screws. I like them. They're coated. They go in really well. Get them from Amazon. So here's the boring part. Putting screws in the holes. Now this little 12 volt drill does have a clutch system on it. And I've got it dialed into about a 7 now. Yours will vary. Some people don't use it. I like it because it just saves me from stripping out the screws in the end. I think it works pretty well. You'll hear it. You'll hear it on the sound, how this works. So I'm checking it again. So we've got 4 screws in. Take these little clamps off. Take these big bottom guys off. Won't need them again. Get around the other side. Lee Valley does not sell these clamps like this anymore. They have a new version of an aluminum clamp that looks really good. My friend Ralph writes a blog every day. He's got some of them. He's really liking them. They're good enough for this. Okay, so now I'm just being careful. We'll turn this over. I'm going to turn this around so you can see it a little bit better over here. So here you can see I've got my rabbet where the back's going to set in. And the problem I had with the, I'm going to put me some little starter clamps up here again. Okay, so I've got this marked. I've got an arrow. You probably can't see it, but I've got an arrow right there on the front end that tells me that's the front. And so this is the back. So this is supposed to go in here like this. Okay, I'm placing these. There's 4 pocket holes down each end, so I'm placing these right in between these first 2 pocket holes. to measure this puppy. It's always fun to see how close you come to square. This is a wonderful tool. I got a lot of red woodpecker stuff in my shop, and I thought I was crazy when I bought this, but I use this thing all the time. If you're building cabinets, it's just awesome. I am pretty darn close. I'll fix that when I put the back on. This side's right on, so I'm right on. What you have to remember about pocket hole joinery is 90 degrees is 90 degrees. If you mess it up, your cabinets will never work. So this, your table saw 90 degrees, this is a 90 degree, and you've got to be able to cut panels out easily and be able to do it consistently to get good cabinets. And so I'm right on here. So I need to measure this now. And that's 29 1/16. So I'm going to cut these at 29. So I need to rip the back at 29. I'm going to stop and do that. You don't need to see me ripping on the table saw. Okay, we're back now. Got this 1/2 inch piece of plywood cut to the right size for the back. I want to show you a trick that I do this pretty consistently here. I don't know if you can see on the end of this, there's a black Sharpie mark around on the edge of that piece of plywood. When I bring plywood home from the store, I put a black Sharpie mark all the way around the factory edges. I assume they're square and they're flat and straight and square. So I use them as references. So when I ran this through the table saw, that was my rip fence side. So that's that story. And there we go. I'm about a 16th. I left myself about a 16th inch short down here on the bottom. There's just no need to have this hanging over the bottom at all right here. I've got a lip over here that I've got hanging on the other side of the bench, and I took these two clamps, and so this is now stable. This is now caught on the other side, and I can wiggle it to get it straight. So I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna go down one side with my nail gun. I'm shooting 1-inch brads. This is a 1/2 inch, and I don't want a chance going through to the outside or the inside, so I can actually put a pretty good angle on these things. So I've got one side of the back attached to this, so if I move, I can move this a little bit and move and get it into square. Now theoretically this should be caught. Dead nuts square. So I'm just going to go pop nails. So down comes the acid test. And there are no nails sticking out. Yay. So there you go. This may look kind of strange to you. It's real deep, and there's a reason for that. I'll be right back. I designed this so that my wife could use these shelves for a number of different things. There's going to be 2 or 3 shelves on each end. I'm going to build 5 shelves. And I designed them around these plastic shoe boxes. I use these all over the shop for storage. You can buy these at 99 cents in most places, and I've got them everywhere. They're the greatest thing because you can see through them. So you can stack them up on the shelf. But what I did for this is this will fit in here. So, and three of them will fit across. And she uses these to keep pieces of her quilting as she makes them. So I think it's going to work out pretty well. So there we go. I hope I said something that made some sense to you, and I hope this works out. Again, thank you for watching the MySaw Workshop video. This is a little different kind of video than the first two I made, and I hope this one works out. Remember, y'all get in the shop. It's not about the tools. It's about the craftsman. I really appreciate you watching this video, and please answer below and give me some feedback. I appreciate you subscribing to the channel right down here. Keep coming back. Thank you. I have no idea how that's going to turn out.